Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
This is a bunch of bullshit.
What's up, and welcome back to the Tiddy and Shiner Show, episode 45, I believe it is. My name is Big Tiddy.
And I'm the one that mothers love to warn their daughters about. My name is Shiner.
Every time, man. Every time. Lock up the daughters.
Speaking of that, we got Donnie in the house, too.
Yeah, everybody say hello to producer Donnie back in the booth.
What's up, buddy?
It's good to see everybody back again because last week I was stuck in a hotel in Branson, Missouri, my whole world. And actually it's productive. I have to go there for work. And it's not bad there. It's just that I hate Branson. I can't stand the place.
Well, it's got so over commercialized. You know, I mean, I heard traffic on the strip in Branson is like, something of biblical proportions.
Yeah, especially in the summer months before school starts, it is insane. Like traffic backup for miles.
That's what I heard.
It's crazy. We were down.
That makes me never want to go there.
I don't know if you've been to Branson in the last 10 years.
No.
Okay, they have a place called Branson Landing, and it's over on Lake Taneycomo, just east of Old Town Branson.
Okay.
And it's right there on the river, or the lake, or whatever you want to call it. But they have built hotels there. They've built restaurants, shopping. It's like an outdoor shopping mall. It's kind of like an outlet mall without being an outlet mall, if that makes sense. But it's right there.
Following you.
Yeah. There's Bass Pro Shops there.
God bless them.
Yeah, Johnny Morris, man. And that thing's been flooded twice in the last few years because of flooding. But
yeah, I'm guessing water.
Right, water. Yeah. But you know what? They just clean shit up and go all over again. How or why that happens there, but it's a very beautiful place to be. Don't get me wrong. You're flat on the ground on one side of Lake Taneycomo, and Lake Taneycomo is not a very wide lake. I'm talking, if you had a really good arm, you could probably throw a baseball. But on the other
real?
Yeah. But on the other side, this cliff that goes up about, 150 feet.
Okay.
And then there's houses right on the edge of the cliff, and those are beautiful. I don't know what it would take to buy one of those, but I guarantee.
I'm guessing a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, guarantee you it's going to be a lot more than what I earn. But nevertheless, we were down there on Branson Landing in the Hilton, and did not have great Wi-Fi, but I had some Wi-Fi, so I was able to just record the podcast on the computer, and I recorded about 16 minutes, and when I squished it down, it was about 13. And that was not a very big file at all, and it took 7 minutes to upload out of the computer.
Oh wow!
The only way it could have gone worse is if I had a 2400 baud modem and they had to dial an internet.
I don't even know what that means, man. It sounds horrible.
Oh gosh, you don't? Yeah, you. I thought you were old enough to remember the dawn of the internet when everybody had AOL.
Oh, no, I'm that old. I just don't remember all the terminology. I remember like the whole thing where you pulled up the window and you hit connect and it made the little noise and it did all that. I remember all those days.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then I had somebody, as a matter of fact, I've got a quote out to a gentleman selling him some laundry equipment, and his address is at AOL.com. He still has...
Every once in a while I'll run across that too.
Yeah. Still has an OG
address. I do a lot of emailing through some of our business endeavors, and every once in a while you run across somebody that's still hanging on to that AOL address.
My buddy Brent Sowers, he lives in Connecticut. I served in the military with him, and he was a corpsman. And I remember back in the day, he was talking about he just wound up getting online for the first time, and he's kind of a computer geek. Even way back in the day, he had he bought it was a 286 SX. Anyhow, he got on this new thing called AOL, and he's still got the email address to this day. So you go ahead and email him if you want to. His email address is brent@aol.com.
So, he was the first Brent to sign up.
Yeah, he was pretty OG. So that's about the most OG email address I've ever heard. Yeah, for sure. But we talked a little bit, but we didn't talk too much in depth about this because A, I wanted to kind of save some of it for the podcast, and B, I wanted to let a little time kind of lapse between then and now because it wasn't the best of times on your hunt recap.
Oh, you know what, man? It wasn't in some aspects, and it was in others. We went out to the new lease, and we spent 3 days out there, and not quite. I mean, we left and got out there in the afternoon, hunted that evening, hunted the next day, and then it rained us out the third day, so we came home early. But yeah, in aspects of bringing venison home, no, nobody scored, nobody put one on the ground. We did see a bunch of deer, and that's always a win to me, man. Just when you fool them enough that they're out in the wild and they're behaving for the most part like they would if you weren't sitting there, that's always really cool to me.
What was the biggest one that you saw live?
You know what? Honestly, dude, the bucks are all for the most part this time of the year, they're still very nocturnal. So the deer, the biggest conglomeration of deer that we saw was the first morning. My brother and I were sitting together in a blind, which in itself is funny, but and my dad was across the lease in a blind on his own, and we both blinds had deer in front of them before daylight, before legal shooting time. My dad actually had one that was close enough. He said he could open the window of the blind and punched it in the face, but it wasn't legal shooting time, so he had to sit and wait. And he said, like they were wearing a watch. He said about 3 minutes before legal shooting time, they all just kind of meandered off and walked on down the piece of property. So
they all looked at their pocket watches and was like, "Hey, Dave, yeah, we better get a move on. Time to go."
My brother and I had a couple sitting in front of us, and they were probably about 20 yards out. And I mean, that one of them was a good sized doe. I mean, it would have been nice to put her in the freezer, but we saw them. I saw a coyote come running down that was like the next day. And it was mid-morning, and some coyote came trotting down through there. And of all things, the guy that owns the property, that farms that property, had asked us not to kill any coyotes.
Yeah, because he needs there's more deer on this property than you should ever have on a piece of property.
Yeah, like anybody that deer hunts, especially anybody that bow hunts, you kind of know, like if you're ever sitting in a blind or a stand and a coyote comes running by, well, your deer hunt's just become a coyote hunt. I mean, that's just how it works because coyotes are pretty hard on the fawns. But this property owner, like you said, he's got so many deer on this it's like 60 acres of land that he wants anything out there that's going to take down that population because they are hammering his crops.
Yeah,
I mean,
like seriously, take all the fawns you want.
Yeah, and so that's their livelihood. So that's his wishes. So that's what we abide by. But it's kind of hard, man. When I got one that's 20, 25 yards from me and he doesn't have a clue that I'm sitting there with a crossbow in my hands, it's real hard to let him walk.
Oh, I'm sure. But I'm sure
I'll get used to it. It was a win in the fact that was the first time my dad, my brother, and I had been out in the woods together in 25 years. Like there's been different factions of us together, 2 or 3 at a time. But that was the first time in 25 plus years that 3 of us had been out. So that was a pretty good time.
I remember.
And while we're talking about Sarge is going to go in and have a cardiac procedure in the very near future. So anybody that's been listening to us, they know of us talking about my pops, man. If you guys believe in a higher power, say a prayer for him. If not, send him all the good mojo you can because he's probably going to be out for the rest of the hunting season because of this deal.
Yeah, that sucks too because the hunting is getting ready to just get really good. It's cooled off now. It hasn't cooled off a great deal, but it's cooled off enough that I needed a jacket this morning when I left.
Did you?
Yeah. It was mid-50s.
Yeah, I got up and open. Well, the windows have been open. I haven't had my AC on at the house, so it's nice and cool air coming through there, airing the house out after a long summer. So that's always cool.
Yeah, neither have we. And it helps too because we've got that. We've got the one attic fan, so if you open your windows, suck air up into the attic space, and so it'll suck air through the windows when you have it open. That cool air kind of blows across your face. You know, you
I'll
wake up.
tell you what's not cool about this. Every time the weather snaps, what happens to me?
Oh God, yeah, and it did.
I did. I had to go to the ER, and hey, props to the crew down there at St. John's Emergency Room, because I know a few of those cats listen to the podcast, and some of the medics from IMSA that put me in the truck and get me down there. So if you guys are listening, hey, props to everybody, and thanks for the support. But yeah, I ended up in there, and I sent you a picture of the bruise on my arm yesterday. You should see it today.
Yeah. By the way, I've got
look at that. Look
say.
at that. Right there.
Good God.
So I just got, man, the only thing I'm going to say about this is if you're a paramedic or a nurse or a tech, or if you start IVs in the course of your daily job, and your patient tells you, hey, this is the easiest and best place to start an IV on me, go ahead and listen to them.
Yep.
I had a firefighter decided he had a better plan, and he blew the vein on the bottom of my arm. They always have a problem starting them there. So I immediately ended up, well, not immediately. 3 minutes later, I had what looked like a set of testicles on my forearm. And it did, dude. It looked like I had a ball sack on my forearm.
Ball sack.
Straight up, man. Like I needed a cup.
So the hematoma went down and turned into a bruise.
Oh, man, it's a nasty bruise now. It's looking champion quality.
Yeah,
But,
and unfortunately, the tattoo that's by that is now somewhat blue, but here in a little while it's going to be green, and then kind of be a little bit of a jaundice yellow before it gets back to normal again.
It's one of those cool chameleon tattoos.
Yeah, so if you're riding in a truck and you're a medic and you're brand new, and somebody tells you don't stick me there, and you do, watch out, because somebody's probably going to throat crunch you one of these days.
Well, I'm not in the best of moods when this stuff's going down, because, I mean, I'm working hard to breathe, so this didn't set real well with me.
No, you'd have done something about it. You'd have done something about it had you been able to voice it. But you're declining in health as he's doing this.
Then he pissed me off because he's got this vein blown on the bottom of my arm. And he's got blood going everywhere. As the EMT that was driving the truck, when he opened it up to get me out of the back, he said, "Oh my God, it looks like a real life video game was getting played back here."
Yeah.
There was blood everywhere. And then he starts it in my hand, which is exactly where I told him to. And he makes the statement, "Well, in retrospect, I wish I would have listened to you." God, thanks a lot, dick.
In retrospect, your throat would feel a shit ton better if I didn't hit it. So.
Well, that's basically been my week, my time off from the show. I mean, shit.
Well, it hadn't been all bad. Even I was working on something for the vlog, and I'm got my nose buried in this thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this son of a bitch done if it kills me. Well, guess what? It killed me. Shot me dead. I'd saved it, and I'm using a program called Adobe Rush. Rush is RUSH, and it's kind of like a shortcut version of Adobe Premiere. And it's my first time really doing any kind of video editing. Shiner's been the one that's done all this video editing up to this point, and I've done the sound, and it's been nice and copacetic, except for it seems a little unbalanced. It takes Shiner 100 freaking hours to edit something, and then he hands it over to me, and I'm done in 5 hours. And hand it back, right? So I'm like, you know what? I got this. And unfortunately, when you get the free version, it allows you 3 saves, and then you got to pay to go any further. So I'd already had 1 save from the night before, and so I started on it again, and I'd probably had 4.5 hours, 4.25 hours maybe into that project when I saved it, and I sent it to Shiner just for him to review, and he shot me back and was, "Well, I do this and I do this, and watch out when you do this. This might not work very well. You might want to kind of think about moving this clip between this clip and that's and you know what, I got to do it how he sees it, because look, in life, there's things that you're good at and things that you're not good at. And I am not good at editing. Now, it doesn't mean that I won't ever be good at it. It's just taken me a lot longer to see things how Shiner sees them, because what Shiner